Good morning, everybody. This is Marius Landman from Australia here in Brisbane. It's now 8:30 in the morning, and it's actually Friday morning here. So welcome to everybody that is on the call this morning. And I'll just quickly get into things then. It's going to be a real exciting presentation today. And the whole intent of this entire presentation is going to be to calm your nerves. So everybody's online. Let me just see. Everything's good to go. We are recording. So guys, on the screen here, what you can see here is the overall chart pattern for Bitcoin. And I'm showing that mostly to new people that have just got into cryptos. Now, one of the things that we need to understand here from cryptos is that cryptos are heading upwards. Let me just draw that arrow. I sat with somebody the other day wanted to get into cryptos, and the guy said to me, but are we going to drop, or is cryptos overall going up? We showed him this, and I said, look at this arrow. What is this arrow showing? It's going up. Simple, very simple, guys. The other thing here, let me just quickly see if I can draw that. Let's get this parallel channel here. The market is not doing this. This basic stuff. We just need to understand what is happening with markets. And many people are asking me, why am I so confident that cryptos are going up? It's because cryptos are not going down. It's still in a very large ascending upwards channel. This is why I don't fear. And this is why I'm not rattled when markets drop a little bit or when markets don't move at all. I'm going to show you a little bit of extra information here today, and what we're going to do is to focus on this little block here, right there, that block there, and we're going to forget about everything else. So let me bring that block up. Now, most of you know that when I developed our algorithm, the algorithm was first developed for the oil and gas industry, where we take data from companies, from oil and gas companies, we put it in our system. And with the data that we put in, the past historical data, we can predict future fatalities, near misses, or incidents. Pretty accurate, really. Now what we are doing is that same algorithm is the one that we use to predict the future price of Bitcoin to a certain extent. Can't be 100% correct, guys. Nothing in the world is. What we are trying to do is to more or less attempt to identify what's happening in the world. Now, in the world, when you invest in cryptos or in Bitcoin or in stock markets, there's a news cycle. And that news cycle can influence whether markets go up or down. And in that news cycle, and you guys you all have seen it now. And we're going to get into some political stuff without being political. Let's just have a look at the facts. In this news cycle, you are getting a fake news media. I'm sorry to say it, guys, but it's a fake news media. And I'm not referring to political stuff. I'm referring to cryptos. There are companies that deliberately push out a fake narrative on cryptos. Well, we're going to get into that a little bit later. The overall idea here is to give you the confidence that markets are heading upwards. I can't tell you how many videos people have sent to me in the last week. Literally, I would say about 100 from all around the world. That's saying, but this guy says that the market is going to drop. This psychic has now seen in their vision that we're going to go to 6,000 Bitcoin. This chart in the sky shows that we're going to go to 5,000. Guys, all of these things are credible. Thank you for sending them. That's all good. But I'm going to show you what we see in our algorithm data. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. Remember, I said in the beginning that we work with patterns as well. There's 17 to 18 patterns in cryptos. They repeat themselves over and over. And that is the secret that we have uncovered. And when you work those 18 patterns in a mathematical format, then you can figure out what comes next. You can see here on the screen. Let me just make sure we are recording. Okay, cool. You can see here on the screen, I'm going to focus on this high point here. This is Bitcoin, $14,000. Now let's have a look and see what happened there right at that point there. I'm going to take this brush and show you. From this high point here, the market dropped. Let me just redo that. From that high point, this market dropped. It went up there. It dropped again. It went up. It dropped again. Then it went up to that 6 August failed breakout. The market should have went down there and broken out upwards. It didn't. And then we had that big drop that lasted for 9 days, where 11,000 Bitcoin was sold in 9 days to drop the market and to break the market structure. Because when you break the camel's back, the camel can't walk. And that is kind of like what we mean when market structure has broken. The market tried to break out again, failed rallies, failed rallies, failed rallies. It dropped, then a nice big rally, and everybody thought it's going to break out. But then sideways, and then this big plunge, and we came right down to this bottom, and now it looks like the market is going to break upwards, okay? Now, let's focus on that pattern for a while, and let's run this backwards now over this little area here. Over that little block here. Let's run it backwards and see what the heck is going on here. Okay, so there we go. Up, sideways, a bit of a drop, up, here, up again, there, more or less. Here we go, up, there, 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 and there. Okay, more or less. Just this is not the data that we use in our algorithm, but I'm going to show you more or less what is happening in cryptos. Now, does that pattern, does that not look scary, accurate, more or less the same, but on a smaller format? Okay, so let's move these patterns aside now, or let me delete that, and let's do it in a different way. Let me go and take the bars pattern, and I'm going to take this and say that is the pattern. I'm going to move that over here, and I'm going to make it smaller. And actually, the quantifiable number is about 1 to 13. And then you'll see that pattern fits into that category. Now, if you make that smaller, let's just take that purple out. More or less, guys. Can you see now why I say that what is coming next is a break upwards? So let's move that pattern aside here. And you can go and do it yourself, guys. You can actually do it a little bit more accurate than what I did it. Just go here to the left-hand side there. There's an arrow there on your trading view, and you'll see there's a bars pattern, and you can compare this with that and do some analysis. Okay, right. What happened next now? What happened next? Let's have a look. Right down here, this bottom, right down there. Now, can you, in all the videos that people have sent me now, psychics and all sorts of people and videos are saying that we are going to drop, and that we could potentially drop to this low point here of 6,500, and they say that we could even stay below to about 6,000 before the market does what is happening here. And then they expect the market to go up and this way and then break out in some way, sure, or fashion. Okay, guys, we don't see that. The low for Bitcoin was 26 September 2019, more or less. The low for cryptos was 26 September 2019, more or less. Some exchanges has got Bitcoin dropping a little bit later to a lower level, and that's fine as well. It doesn't matter. So let's have a look at what is coming next. What is coming next is this. You just make that smaller. The market is going to break this level here of $10,000. It's going to break this level of $12,000, and then it's going to go up, in my opinion, most likely in October, going into November, and it's going to break $16,000 right there at that level. At $16,000, the market is going to drop with $7,000. Mark my words. And then the market is going to go up again, and it's going to break the level of 20,000 or 22,000, and it's going to drop with $8,000. Exactly what we said months ago, before it then goes up. Now, what we have here, we've only got a delay in price action. Okay. Now, let me show you now something else here, and I want to give you the confidence. This presentation, I think it's about confidence. Why you need to stay in the market. Now, remember here, and we're going to get into this as well. In this period here, from this date, 14 to 15 October 2018 backwards, there are 40 days and 40 nights where Bitcoin went longer than what it was supposed to go. 40 days and 40 nights. The same year, guys, 40 days and 40 nights. Let me go back into Bitcoin here, and I'm going to show you. From this drop here, there's 40 days. Now, remember I said that the market was supposed to break out here at 6 August. So the market should have done this. And remember we had this where the market went up, it dropped till there, and then it went up here, then it dropped, and then it went up. And this was your X, your Y, and your Z leg. Okay. Now, from that high point there, the market dropped for 9 days into this level here. So this 40 days is an extra 40 days that were pushed into the pattern to drag out cryptos. And I'm going to explain to you now shortly why. Why are those 40 days pushed in there? It's not by coincidence, guys. It's all manufactured. And you're going to understand why. I've always said, probably one of the first people in the world that came out, and I got a lot of flack for this, where I said way back in 2000 and last year, I think at about March, where I said that here it is, the evidence that Bitcoin is manipulated. And I don't like the word manipulation. I like the word suppressed better. Manipulation just sounds very crude. And I got so much flack for it because everybody says, where's your evidence? Where's this? Where's that? You're a conspiracy theorist. Guys, the markets are manipulated. The quicker you understand it, the quicker you can play the market. Because you need to just do what they do and know what they're going to do. Then you play the market exactly what they do. Now, if we were to take the 40 days, let me just have a look here. The 40 days from that high point here, I think it was about 40, what was it, 40 or 50 days somewhere. The market was supposed to take about 48 days. Yeah, that's correct. About 40, 48 towards there. 48 days to break out. That is called a cycle. If you do cycle analysis, and I don't want to get into the cycle analysis too much now, but if you get into cycle analysis, you'll see that 48 days and bang, the market should have broken out exactly at that point. The point there that I said we had to go into the Y. And you all know that we got to that point where we had that failed breakout. The market came down sideways, had this big drop, and now we find ourselves exactly at this point. And if you look at this low point here of 26 September, that was the low point there in cryptos as well as Bitcoin. But Bitcoin made another lower low on 30 September. And let me just quickly discuss that with people that are more technical inclined. The reason for that low point there is the end of your fifth wave. Okay, so you can go and work that out. Let me just quickly see if I can just bring that in, and I'll just draw that as we see it. If that was the high point, the low point, we've got another high point there, then a low point there, another high point here, and then your fifth wave. There's your completion of your fifth wave, most likely. Remember this, guys, most people were saying that the fifth wave is missing. Fifth wave is missing. Remember this. So when you have a look at Litecoin, for example, sorry, I'm just going off here on something else. When you look at Litecoin, for example, you will see that if you do the analysis, you'll see your fifth wave is missing. Now, it doesn't matter if your fifth wave is missing on cryptos or altcoins. we still believe that this is the low point in cryptos. That's my belief from the data that we see. So let's go back to this chart pattern here, and I'm going to show you what we see coming next. Okay, let me just clear that up. I did it on a presentation yesterday as well. Now remember, that pattern is the same pattern as that one on this side here. Okay, so at the end of this cycle, we believe that the end of this cycle, the long-term cycle, could be here in October, round about there, a little bit closer, okay, round about there. So let's just pull this a little bit higher. Okay, just more or less. Okay, so what comes next in the crypto world is this, guys. We are going to go upwards and break this level here of 10, 12, 16. We're going to break 20, and we're going to go up to 30, and eventually we're going to hit that target there of about 80,000. Let me just put that in there. My chart is not 100% correct, but I'm just going to put that in there. So that is going to be your high point of $80,000 by the end of the cycle. Now that cycle could be dragged out as far as a maximum of, let me just put it in here, 30 October 2019. Okay, so that is where we see the end of that cycle. Now, I'm not going to show you what happens after that cycle, but you know, the market goes up, it has a drop, and it goes higher. So the first thing that we need to focus on,
2019.
if we were to draw just a simple basic arrow, I'm going to draw a simple basic arrow. Just for the people here that are new, and you don't have to worry anything further, guys. This is what's happening. The market is going to go to $80,000. Okay. So the market is going to head up to $80,000, a drop there, and then upwards. Now, let me quickly get into Litecoin here quickly. I'm going to go to the 4-hour chart. Now, remember, guys, I'm not a day trader. I don't like day trading. It's the quickest way to lose money. Nobody makes money, less than 1%. So don't attempt day trading. It doesn't work. What works is the trend trading. And let me show you why the trend actually works. Way back here, and I just quickly want to touch on that. The first time that I ever bought Bitcoin, and I've mentioned this multiple times, I bought it on the Australian Stock Exchange. There was a company at that time, I can't remember, 2015, 2016, somewhere around there, a company that was associated with having a Bitcoin instrument in their company together with mining. And I bought Bitcoin the first time at about 250. It was actually 250 Australian dollars, so it could be in this region. I don't know where. But at that point, what I did is I bought, I just worked it out in the previous webinar, about $30,000 worth of Bitcoin, which was about, I can't remember how much Bitcoin it was now. But anyway, at that point, I made a 40% rise in price again. And I thought I was smart, and I sold it. And I watched while Bitcoin hit $1,000. Remember that time when it hit 1,000 and it actually it surpassed gold? It was a big thing. And I didn't think much about it. But the Litecoin that I bought here at this bottom, let's just take a calculator. And I worked it out here actually. If you look at, I think it was 120 Bitcoin that I bought times 250, $30,000 worth. In today's value, that would have been $2.1 million. Guys, when I worked this out on the previous webinar I did, it's the first time I've ever done it. I wanted to kick myself, and it just reiterated the point that sometimes you just need to buy and hold. Have a small percentage of your portfolio. You buy and you hold, 10, 20% or whatever. And so the market went straight up here. If you look at the percentage that the market went up, the price range from where I bought at about 250, if you take that upwards there, that's about a 7,000% gain. that I lost because I thought I was smart by selling when I made a 40% gain. Now, let's have a look here. The same principle, guys, is here. I'm saying to you now that this is the low point in Bitcoin. Let's have a look at this. That is the low point. The gains that you are going to make from this low point here up to this 80,000, and I've done that on yesterday's webinar as well for some other people. That's Bitcoin is going to go up 1,000% up till as maximum 30 October 2019. So if you have, for example, let's just take an example. If you have 2,350.
Marius, do you mean 2020, not 2019?
Yeah, I keep making that mistake. Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, we can't go backwards, otherwise we from the future. So if you have 2,350, okay, plus only 2,350 plus 1,000%, guys, it's $23,000. Okay, so think about this now. Now, if you have $50,000 currently in Bitcoin, only Bitcoin alone, plus 1,000%, that gives you $500,000. Now, the good news is this, is that altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin by far. Remember what I said to you? I said to you that there's a certain coin. That coin is gonna has the potential. Guys, please, when you're online, we keep muting people, but then somehow people just unmute themselves, and we can just hear the scuffling around there. So if you wouldn't mind, just to make sure that you all are muted. Now remember what we said. There are certain coins. One coin has the potential. One coin has the potential to go up 34,000. One coin has the potential to go up 30. Sorry, Wendy, who is? Sorry, guys. Let's just quickly have a look here. Okay, so one coin has the potential to go up 34,000%. Okay, outperforming Bitcoin 34 times. Okay, 34 times, guys. Think about this for a second. Now, that's at the end of the cycle. Remember that it's probably not right to quantify and say that Bitcoin will only go up 1,000, because remember, when it comes there, we have a drop here. Okay, a severe drop, and that's also the drop for the world stock markets, and I'm going to get into that shortly in October 2020, when the world stock markets are going to take a larger dip, and then from there onwards we head up to a certain point, we have a drop again, and we have an extended wave going upwards. Sorry, man. Hey, guys, guys, please, the person who keeps unmuting yourself, can you just make sure that
it's
you are
Gary.
muted?
It's Gary. Tell him to shut it off.
Yeah, can you just take Gary out there when you just click on him and just remove him, please? Okay, we have removed Gary. Gary, we've just removed. We are going to remove you and just come back again. Thanks. Okay, cool. Let's carry on, guys. Okay, guys. Now the next thing is this. Let's have a look at Litecoin. Now, remember this. The market is heading upwards. This is why I sleep like a baby every night. I actually sleep with a smile on my face because I can't wait to wake up in the morning to get back into cryptos, because I know ultimately what the end goal is of cryptos. Now remember, guys, previously I said that we have done an analysis on the book. It's a book in the Bible. And again, guys, for those people who are other different religions than Christians who read the Revelation, this is not a speech for Christianity or for any religion. But when you take the book Revelation, Okay, go and read the book. The book of Revelation will tell you what the future will look like. Very simple. It tells you. Read it and you will understand. About 65 to 70% of everything in the Revelation has already come to fruition over the last 1,000 years. Now, if you read what happens in the end times, you know that the Bible says that nobody will be able to buy and sell unless they have the mark of the beast. Now, I'm not saying cryptos are the mark of the beast, just understand me right. At one point, when it's ready, I will come and present the findings that we have found, how Revelation works and how cryptocurrencies fit into the end time. Now, remember, the world can go on for another 1,000 years, 2,000 years. We don't know because nobody knows the future. But we can ascertain the future from documents that we read, and we can look at past history and see what will happen in the future. Okay, so cryptocurrencies fit really well into that document, which is the book Revelation. Now let's bring it down to what's happening in the world right now. Right now in the world, there's a fight for globalization. There's a fight for a one world government. Some people are against it, some people are for it. Ultimately, we are going to have a one world government. We are going to have a socialist government. And there must be a means of buying and selling products and getting paid for that. The US dollar won't be there to do it. The euro won't be there. The South African rand won't be there. But, or it may still exist, but in cohesion with cryptocurrencies, there will be a global payment system. The global payment system is cryptocurrencies. All these thousands of altcoins that you see is there. And remember, we came out in 2017 or 2018, in the beginning of 2018, and I made this prediction and we said that what is going to happen in the future, in about a year or two from now, is that we are going to have super wallets. They will be called super wallets. A super wallet is basically where you have access to a very secure wallet. It's going to be called a super wallet. You can literally drag and drop of your certain altcoins. You will have 20, 30, or 40 altcoins. Most people have 10, 20. You'll be able to drag and drop, and you say you drag Bitcoin into my super wallet. I drag Ethereum into my super wallet. And I drag maybe Litecoin in. And Litecoin, I will only give a 30% access to the super wallet. That super wallet will be linked to a chip in your hand. Guys, and if you think I'm out of this world, it's already happening in Brisbane. It's already been tested in Brisbane. You can now, with a certain company, I don't want to mention the name of this company, very large company. And I mentioned this before, they associated with oil and gas. They're not an oil and gas company, but they're a consultancy in oil and gas. You can now at that company, you can when they give you work, you can say, or when you employ by them, you can write down. They ask you to tick. Do you want to get paid in fiat currencies or Ethereum or Bitcoin or Litecoin? So they will pay you every month in Bitcoin or Ethereum. Or you can have a percentage in fiat, a percentage in crypto. Now, the guy has got like a little chip between his thumb and his index finger and his finger. When you go and buy a coffee, and I was there, I sat with him. He literally just moves his hand over the machine and it deducts it out of his Ethereum wallet and he gets a notification on his phone. Bang, as easy as that. And his receipt is there, everything is there. For tax purposes, bang, it's there. As quick as you can say pay. That's how quick it is. No card. You don't carry anything around with you. Now, the reason I'm saying this to you, now, first of all, understand that the super wallets are already active. They're being tested all around the world. Now, Australia and New Zealand is the testing ground for cryptocurrencies. Clearly, listen carefully what I say here. This is why cryptocurrencies in Australia is doing so well. And the government is supporting cryptos. Guess what happened in New Zealand? You can now, it's law, it's legal. You can now pay your employees with cryptocurrencies. Any crypto, whatever you want. It's legal. They just announced it a few weeks ago. We predicted that. We said a year ago that in 1 year from now, that New Zealand will be the first country to officially announce that they will pay their employees in cryptos. Even government officials can get paid in cryptos. Crazy stuff, guys. And now in Australia, remember this, the first airport in the world, the international airport, was the Brisbane airport where I live, that now accept cryptocurrencies when you get onto the airport. It was a big thing at that time. Now all airports all around the world are starting to do it. Guys, this is the next revolution. It's bigger than the Industrial Revolution. When you look at trillions and trillions of dollars, it's a payment system. There's a race to the top. And JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, digital assets, the big banks are not sitting back and doing nothing. They quietly, like snakes in the dark, running around like mad dogs, working 24 hours a day to get to the race of the top of the cryptocurrency market. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this, guys, because cryptos are going to go astronomically high. There's no way that cryptos will go down to zero. And some of these videos that people have sent me, there are psychics that now say that Bitcoin is going to go to $20. They see it. There's a guy that does remote viewing. I'm not talking about a certain guy, his name starts with D. Those are good guys. But there's a certain guy that has done remote viewing, and he sees that Bitcoin is going to go to $50. He's seen a 5 and a 0. Maybe he's wrong. Maybe it's 50 million. You know, so there's so many people that are now predicting all these strange things, and I'm going to get into that shortly, guys, where you will have to decipher what is the truth, and what is not the truth, because we are being played here big time. What I uncovered is going to give you hair on your hands, on your arms very soon. It's going to give you goosebumps. Now, ultimately, guys, and we're not going to get into all the analysis about where the markets are going to go. Ultimately, let me just tell you this. Litecoin is going to break out very soon. Imminent breakout here, guys. And it's going to break up. My prediction that we are going to go to 107 to 120 Litecoin still stand. And I just want to make that very clear. We are going to see a price break either Friday, tomorrow, American time, if not over the weekend and as late as Monday, maybe Tuesday. But there's an imminent break in Litecoin. It must happen. Now, first of all, I'm quickly going to draw this for you and show you quickly what I see. Let me just get this tool here. I'm going to take my brush. We are seeing a break upwards here. Very imminent. Guys, it's going to be like magic. It's going to break all these indicators. It's going to break that Python y-axis. It will be one of the only critical points in the history of cryptos. Because to break all those indicators is something astronomical must happen in cryptos. But we see that it could potentially hit about 108, 120. And remember, please understand me right. I'm not saying it is going to happen with definite certainty. I'm saying that in my algorithm, I still see an upwards trend of 107 to 120. If it happens, it's going to come up here, hover around there. It's then going to have a big drop back into this blue box D. It could go a little bit lower up to about 64. Then it comes back up again. I think it goes back up once again, then comes back, hovers around here, and then it breaks out. Okay. Again, don't look at the date on the bottom. This is just the pattern. Look at the pattern. The same what I showed you in Bitcoin, and I showed you these two patterns. Okay. Look at the pattern of Bitcoin. I've always said from about 3 months ago, I said dates are distorted now. From 6 August. Dates are distorted. You can forget about it. The cycle pattern is broken. It doesn't work. That means there's manipulation in the market. And you know, so many people got agitated with me, and you should see some emails, 2 or 3 emails where people say, oh, you said it's going to break out and it didn't break out. Guys, we've always said there's a lot of things that can happen in the crypto market, and that's why it's important to attend these weekly webinars. If you really want to be successful and have a sane mind, attend these webinars and make sure you understand what is going on in the crypto market. Now, you're now going to see that the market is going to break out here. And let me just quickly go back to, here to this document here. Okay. Now, remember this. I came out and I said about, this was about a week or 10 days ago. And I said that, look at this archive data. And I said that this is the secret data that they don't want you to know. Guys, this pattern is going to play itself out. I see it in my data. I think we were a little bit too quick with it. Because remember, we thought that this big drop in cryptos were over, and then suddenly it hit us off guard and it dropped a little bit lower. Although, just remember, and I just want to clarify this, that we said when we drew this big pattern, and remember we were around about year in Bitcoin, around about July, and we came out and we said that this is going to drop. It's going to look like this, and then it's going to go like that before the market then comes up and goes upwards there. Remember, go back to blog post number 100 and you will see the patterns on Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. Okay. Now we say that it's going to go here around about 50. And remember, I placed my orders and I said from 59 downwards to 50. All those orders that I left there, they all got heat. I woke up one morning and bang, they were heat. And I bought Litecoin at a very low level. Now that target, although it didn't hit here at this point here, just hit a little bit later. The point is, guys, that the low point that the algorithm predicted got hit. Now let's have a look at Ethereum. We said that the low point for Ethereum was 151 or as low as 119. But that 151 was hit right there. And Ethereum is soon going to head up into this point here. Ethereum is going to be the first coin to break out. So keep watching Ethereum. It's going to do this, guys. And at one point, it's going to go upwards like that. I don't see a big retrace in Ethereum anymore. You can literally buy it and it's going to go upwards. It's going to break this level here. And I showed this on a previous webinar. It's going to break this level here, this red line. That is the algorithm line.
Did you have a good evening?
And then what's going to happen is we're going to jump off this high point here. A very good person that I know is friends with Vitalik Buterin. As a matter of fact, he's doing business with Vitalik. Vitalik Buterin is the guy who developed Ethereum. He told me in this week that Ethereum 2.0 is set to launch on target date, January, somewhere in January. So that is still happening. Vitalik Buterin is going to release Ethereum 2.0. It's going to be groundbreaking. That's going to push Ethereum up, guys. I tell you now, it's going to push Ethereum up way high. Okay, so anyway, that's something with regard to the dates and timelines and where we are now. Now, let me just get my train of thought here. So what we had was this target here. And I'm going to show you now where we are in this process. I think I was a little bit...
That should be a good weekend.
Okay, guys, just make sure you all are muted. So what we have is this panel here that is going to play out. I think I was a little bit too early with this. Now I'm going to show you where we are right now at this moment. If you look at this pattern, I've just taken that archive data, and remember this is our archive data from our algorithm. We combine the 2003, 2011 Apple charts together with gold, silver, and we come out with a model that gives us an indication of what is the overall movement of either Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum. And now we're also doing Bitcoin Cash. The reason we do these different models is because in the future, in the not so far future, guys, I will not be able to come to you and say Bitcoin has got this pattern and expect all the other coins to follow the same pattern. It won't happen. There's going to be a vast number of coins that are going to do its own thing. Litecoin, for example, is going to break away from Bitcoin. Ethereum is going to do its own thing, and you're going to see staggering results in certain coins. So it's going to be a lot more complicated to come back to you and say, this is what the overall market is going to do. Of course, we can see it in Bitcoin, but you're going to have an overall market in Litecoin, in Ethereum, in Bitcoin Cash. But it doesn't matter. We'll bring you that data. Now, if you look at this algorithm chart, guys, we are here on the bottom, right there. I'm expecting that we are going to have a big breakout here very soon. And that top there is about 17120. Now remember this, guys, I'm not saying that it is going to break out. I'm only showing you what I see in my data. For some reason, the patterns keep repeating. It may just be delayed. And then we're going to have a bit of a drop. We're going to go up to this one here, which is H1, a high point 1. Then we're going to drop, and we're going to go sideways here. Mark my words, guys, potentially for 10, 20, or even 30 days. And I'm going to show you why. This sideways action, I'm going to prepare you for that you are not emotionally distraught and saying again, but everything is just dragged out, dragged out. What comes here right at this end here is the big breakout. Bitcoin is not the leading indicator anymore. It's not at all. The leading indicator is Litecoin. Unless Litecoin moves up, nothing will move. We are seeing a break in Litecoin. That break is going to go upwards. And if you look at the day chart, and I'm placing my integrity, my, what's the right word? Anyway, my career basically. Say again?
Reputation.
Reputation, there's the word. I should write it down. I keep forgetting it. But I'm basing my reputation on the fact that we are going to have a breakout. I don't know how high that break is going to be, because remember, guys, you get these big resistance lines, especially this one here, which is that Python Y axis. It's a huge resistance line. But I'm betting that we are going to break upwards. Imminent now, within days. And we are going to see that break. It's going to break all these indicators. If I'm right, just think about this. If I'm right, you're going to make a lot of money. Now, I'm not saying to you that you have to sell here on the top and come back and buy in the bottom. The best thing that you can do, there's a good chance that this can go up and you wait. And you only buy here at the bottom. You can wait and see if this pattern plays out. So you park your cash on the side and you wait. Because if the market drops, you in cash, it doesn't matter, or you're in a stable coin. But when we follow this pattern where it goes up, down, then goes sideways, and then break out, you can always buy at that point there. For me personally, I have bought every single cryptocurrency that I want. I am 100% invested. I haven't got 1 cent left. As a matter of fact, when we go out for a coffee, I have to get Wendy to pay. I haven't got money. Now, I promise you, I'm fully invested, guys, you know. But the thing that I want to warn people is, do not go and borrow money and put it in cryptos and think the market is just going to move up. Guys, I see a huge breakout coming here. And as I said to you, multiple people have sent me videos, YouTube videos, and thank you very much for that, guys. We haven't got the time to watch all of them, but we do watch them. There are multiple, like hundreds, if not thousands of YouTube accounts that are calling for a drop in cryptos. And I'm going to explain to you this now. Let me get into the, I don't want to call this, okay, what shall we call this? Okay, this is a summary of the Bitcoin algorithm and social media analysis for October 2019. Can you guys remember that over the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 3 months, everybody has asked me, they said to me, but what pushes cryptocurrencies up so that we have this 1000% spike? Now, I'm going to give a little bit of information. One of the reasons I didn't want to do it is because we don't want to get into political discussions with people. And I want you to understand, you guys, that on this call, most likely, we've got 40% Democrats, 40% Republicans, 20% of people that are indecision. And worldwide, we've got 50% people that like Trump and 50% people that don't like him. So I am not a Democrat, I am not a Republican, I'm an Australian citizen, I've got a New Zealand passport, and I've got a South African passport. Okay, I'm married to an American, but this is not a political speech, just understand me correct, okay? Forget about politics for a moment and forget about jumping on the bandwagon of this stupid social media nonsense, okay? Let's have a look at our own pocket here for a chance. What we are seeing in the USA is that between 2019, between now and 2024, that there is going to be a prosperous season for the USA. The USA is going to be such a strong country financially that the world is going to look at the USA and say, we want to be like that. Okay, let's go down. Number 2, there's going to be no large or big financial collapse, nowhere to be seen. And people are going to lose faith in YouTube doomers and gloomers. You know, I calculated, you can go to YouTube and or Google, and you can go and search what people say about financial stuff. The doomers and gloomers, 1.7 million videos has been made in this year of people that talk about doom and gloom of the worldwide economy. Less than 1,000 positive videos. Okay, so I started thinking of myself, and I said to my team, this is impossible, you know. How can everybody, almost everybody in the world that has got a YouTube channel, talk negative about the financial market when the signs are there that the economy is doing good? Guess what we found? Multiple fake paid-for narrative YouTubers. We uncovered this. Crazy. Now remember this, you know, somebody pointed to me yesterday and said, remember Cliff High spoke about this. And the guy sent me an article where Cliff High spoke about paid-for narrative. I actually came out with that name. I didn't even know that Cliff had it in his document. Exactly the same, paid-for narrative. These are YouTube people. They pay them and they say, they give them a narrative and say, talk bad about the finance, the economy. And they make this analysis that is crazy stuff. And you look at it and you go like, wow, the market is really going to break down. And they put fear in people. These fake new YouTubers are going to lose the battle around about year 24 October 2019. You can see there's now a whistleblower that came out that said that he has been paid. He doesn't know by who, but he shows his bank statements where he's been paid $900 to make 5 YouTube videos of how bad the economy looks and where the market is going to go. Okay, now we see cryptos rising astronomically up to the year 2024, but there are going to be some big drops in 2020 as well as 2019. Between 2019 and 2020, the alt season is going to push altcoins up by large numbers. Numbers that you can't even speak out. You know, if I say to you that we see DigiByte go up 34,000%, I was really hesitant to say that a while ago because it's going to look like I'm stupid. How can a coin go up 34,000%? Now remember, 34,000% is at the end of the cycle. We believe that the third leg of the cycle, remember what I showed you, could potentially be in October of 2020. Then we have a 4th cycle down. We have a 5th cycle that still goes up again. Then we have a drop and then an extended wave. So in effect, guys, there's going to be 7 cycles. We are now entering cycle number 3. So keep that in mind. Now, before the end of this, okay, Bitcoin price action slows down dramatically, meaning that Bitcoin doesn't have these big plunges where it just moves up. There's a resistance level mathematically, and it's difficult to explain that just by talking. I can show it on a piece of paper. But when you get Bitcoin 10 and Bitcoin has to go to 20,000, it becomes mathematical a little bit more difficult by a factor of 6. Because then to go from 20 to 40 becomes a lot more difficult because it's got to do with the value of a dollar in terms of purchasing power. When you do that analysis, 40,000 Bitcoin becomes very difficult. Then to go from 40 to 80 takes months to go there. It doesn't just double in a week or 2 months or 3 months. It does it in a question of about 6 months. That's when it doubles. But now, think about this now. Take into account the purchasing power of the US dollar again, okay? For Litecoin to go from 50 to 100 is very easy. Why? Because everybody spends $100 on a meal. To go from 100 to 200 is easy as well. $200 is nothing really in today's value. From 200 to 400, from 400 to 800, very easy. That's plain and simple why altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin. And little coins like Digibyte or XRP, which is now 23 cents to go to $1 is very easy. Then it starts struggling to go from $1 to 2, from 2 to 4, from 4 to $10. It's a little bit more difficult, but it reaches a high point, and mathematically you're going to see that all these altcoins has to come up par to par in a certain value terms with the price of Bitcoin. That's why altcoins are going to outperform. Now, before the end of this year, there's going to be a $7,000 drop in Bitcoin. I showed you that in the beginning, followed by a upswing and a new high point of 22,000, then another $8,000 drop. So keep that in mind. That's what we see. The Dow, in our opinion, is going to hit a new all-time high this year, but then it retraces 3 times from now till Monday, 23 December. And remember, I say retrace. It's not a drop. It's not kind of like a crash point. Yes, it can go low and it will seem like a crash, but it's not a 1931 style crash. It will come back yet again. Again, there's going to be no failure, and the Dow ultimately is going to hit 40,000 Dow. Gold is going to push upwards. Remember, in the beginning of the year, probably the first people that came out, I made this statement on Twitter, and I said that this year, in 2019, gold is going to go up, silver is going to go up, cryptos will go up astronomical. That's what we said. And we've still got 3 months to go, and you're going to see that cryptos, not necessarily Bitcoin. I don't believe that Bitcoin is going to go up as fast as what we think it is, but altcoins are going to go up very, very fast. Then gold does not spike to $10,000. Nowhere in my data do I see that. Not this year, not next year. I don't see that. There's going to be major fake stories from now till the end of the year that is going to be uncovered of banks that are manipulating gold, and they will keep manipulating it. Now, what will happen, guys? Think for a second here. If you're new to listening to our webinar here, think about this now for a second. Just understand what's happening in the world. America goes and makes war. They destroy the Middle East. I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen the destruction there. It's criminal, really. 6 million innocent people have been killed from 2000 till 2019. 6 million innocent people, children, mothers. It's terrible, guys. Why don't we just build water wells, build farmlands, build infrastructure? I don't understand this whole thing. And then we get a guy like, and remember, it's not political here, guys. I'm just saying, because we need to understand what's happening in the world. Now we get a guy like Saddam Hussein, who had weapons of mass destruction. We know now it was all a fabricated lie. Okay? This is the governments. This is what they do to us. Now, I'm going to bring that in shortly, and just listen to me as we go on. Now, these big banks are going to get fined, similar to what a certain bank got fined $52 or $56 million. Guess what, guys? I'm trying to get that data where they paid the fine. They have never, ever paid any fines. They get these fines, and it goes out to the public, and it says that JP Morgan fined $50 million. They never pay those fines. There's never evidence that they pay the SEC or pay whoever. But then the SEC comes out and fines EOS 20 million, and they force them to pay that. Guys, it's crazy stuff what we are starting to uncover here. Just really crazy stuff. Now, silver could hit $40. A spike to 3 digits could occur. For those people that are holding silver, remember we said that silver could spike to $103. What will happen if it does happen? It will spike up to 103. It will come back to 40. So if this happens, and I'm not saying it is going to happen, guys, because silver and gold is heavy manipulated. Our algorithm cannot figure out or cannot see what other people, what dark people, what thugs, what bad people are thinking. We don't know their intentions. That's why I say gold and silver, I'm very cautious to make analysis on that. But I can tell you that long term, we see silver going up to $982. That still stands. I still see that. Let's look at impeachment. Impeachment of the president of the USA. Who would have believed, okay? Around 9 to 11 October, the news cycle is going to turn into Trump's favor. We see a lot of unethicalness that will be uncovered, and the news cycle goes into Trump's favor. I believe this is also the reason why Bitcoin, or Litecoin rather, why Litecoin, the leading indicator, could potentially break out because of positive news. Now think about this, guys. Let's go back here and have a look at this cycle here. Remember here on the bottom, I just want to bring this in so that everybody can understand what happens in America is very important. What happens in American politics is important for us to understand what is happening in cryptos. You must take this into account. If you don't, you are going to get mentally destroyed, because this is what they do. They want to destroy you. Remember here right at that top there, right down to that point, 40 days and 40 nights. What happened there? The Americans shut down. That was supposed to break out a lot faster, a lot bigger. The American shutdown happened. It brought cryptocurrencies to its knees. 40 days, 40 nights. Then suddenly, when the American shutdown stopped, the market went up. See that big green candle there? Now, 40 days and 40 nights. There, guys. There's your 40 days and 40 nights. Let's go back here and we look at this date here. 15 October 2018. That is the spike. Remember this, if you go back in November, you'll see that we predicted that spike. If you go to Bitfinex, you'll see the spike is actually a lot higher. The spike is about there. But nonetheless, guys, from that spike, if you work it backwards, 40 days and 40 nights. This is how they manipulate the market, by slowing the market down, by bringing in these dates. Now, let me go back to Bitcoin here, and I'm going to show you on the day chart where those 40 days are. Now, at this high point here, if you look at a cycle, that cycle should have been about 48 days. Around about there, I think I showed that. I'm not 100% sure if I did. But the market would have come down there on 48 days and then break out upwards. Now, since that time, if you take the next day, right till this drop here, there's your 40 days. Remember I said that there's an inclusion of a pattern that is nowhere to be seen, and that's the 40 days. Now, let's go back here. And okay, obviously here we've got the 40 days. I can't remember exactly how the 40 days, where it worked in. I haven't had a look at that yet, but we can do it now. Your 40 days was around about this point here. Around about there, your 40 days. You can go back and see exactly the day when the American shutdown happened. I think it was 29 December or just before Christmas somewhere. And because I remember that Donald Trump was alone on Christmas Day, and you remember the pictures when they showed him sitting alone in the White House. Gee. Now, this spike here, if you take that backwards, let me just put that in till there. There's your 40 days as well. Inclusion of the pattern, inclusion of a pattern, inclusion of a pattern of 40 days. What happens after this 40 days? The market dropped. And this is why I say, guys, the market now is going to go upwards. Look for this. Just to get back to the previous person who asked the question here, you know, if you want to know if this market is going to go upwards, if Bitcoin now goes above this 22 or the 2B algorithm, if it goes above that pink line, we're going to have a big breakout in cryptos. And you can see it's trying to move up, trying to move up. It's getting that little bit of resistance. What happens when you put a nail and you hit it into a plank? You get resistance. And the more you hit, the easier it gets. And suddenly the nail just follows a path in the wood. And with 1 or 2 strikes, the nail just goes through. Look at this, guys. The nail onto the pink line, and suddenly it breaks through and the market goes up. Okay, now let's get back to this quickly about the impeachment. Okay, around 9 or 11 October, the news cycle is going to turn in Trump's favor. I see Litecoin then rising at the same time. There's going to be major dishonesty uncovered in the political arena from now till the end of this year. As a matter of fact, till next year, the election. Second news cycle, immediate now in this month, on impeachment pushes cryptos upwards. So they try to impeach Trump the second time not really impeach. Remember, it's all just a show. There's no impeachment really. So the second day to watch is the latter part of the end of October into November. And just as bad as what the impeachment news is, just as good it's going to be for cryptos. Now, there's too much media focus on the US elections, but not on cryptos. Okay, now, of the 65 million wallets around the world that we can find, okay, we did an analysis and less than 15%, 15 of those wallets are active in the world. Think about this, guys. 80% plus people have gone. Their wallets are inactive, empty. They've cashed out, took their money. They're not going to come back to cryptos. Guess what? That's exactly what governments want you to do. Okay? So look for the American election is going to influence cryptos big time. And remember, guys, please, this is not political motivated. The first move up in Litecoin is going to be a copycat of what is coming. This is what I say, that copycat, the first one is where we potentially break up to 107, 120, forms like a barred head on top, and then it drops. And the second one is going to be the big spike. People will buy into the first spike. They're just going to be disappointed. But if you do buy in the spike, just keep it because the market will come down then up again. After a long sideways event, Litecoin finally copycats the first breakout. Social media linguistics, and that's actually a term that I just stole from Cliff High, because we've got no other word to mention what this is. But thank you, Cliff High. We give you credit for that. Indicate that people will say it's a failed breakout, just like the first one, and they sit on the sidelines basically. Then comes the big break that catches everybody off guard. Now I want to show you this chart here, guys. Remember this, we are now here on the bottom, like I showed you. Let me just quickly go back to this chart here. We are here on the bottom. I'm expecting the markets to break out upwards. How high that goes, I do not know. I do not know, but I see a break of all those indicators. Then we're going to come back down to a low point here. Okay, retesting almost about the low that we have now, or maybe a little bit higher. Then we go up to our first high point here, then a drop, and it's going to follow this pattern sideways. This pattern could be 10 days, it could be 20 days, it could be 30 days. I want you to emotionally prepare for that. What happens directly after this? After that point there is a breakout. Now remember what I said, that 24 October is the second news cycle for the impeachment of Donald Trump, where they basically lose control, where it gets uncovered that the impeachment is not really what they projected it to the world to see. And that could potentially be also the date to watch that cryptos push upwards and break. So somebody asked me, do I still see that 1000% rise in cryptos? Yes, guys, I still see it. It's going to happen. There's going to be a push upwards in Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, XRP, as well as Digibyte. When it's going to happen, we don't exactly know, but we are going to follow the pattern of Litecoin. The only thing that we need to do, we watch for this pattern here. Okay, guys, let's open for questions. That's about all that I really had to say.
Marius, can you cover Bitcoin one more time? What do you expect near term? Thanks, this is Boris. Thank you.
Cool. Let me just reload this chart. Now, if you look at Bitcoin here, what I personally think is going to happen is that we are going to hit here in October, is that we are going to break this high point here of $10,000. There's a big chance in October, guys, that we could hit this, let me just make that smaller, that we could hit this target here of $12,000. And remember earlier, I also said that going into October, November, as we get into November, we're going to hit this $15,000 to $16,000 target. So Boris, that is what I see. So for the immediate now, let's say if you look at October, October ends Yeah. Now October ends there. Let me just basically move that red one actually over. Okay. So I see a break upwards here. We're going to break outside that channel. When we're above that channel, expect it to go up, come down, and then it's going to go and lunge for its second lunge up into this green little circle here. So for the immediate, this is what I see. That is the exact one there, Boris. Then going, as we go over October, we see it basically just going upwards into this level here of 15 to 16,000. A drop,
So,
and then it goes up again.
So no need to do any trading until at least 12,000 and kind of watch it, right?
Yeah, what I'm going to do, remember I said that going into October and November, I am going to move all my Bitcoin into altcoins. So I'm waiting, as soon as we hit and we break outside that channel, I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin from my personal stash now, not investment portfolio. Some of them I just keep. But my personal stash, I'm going to sell that, move it into cash. Then what I'm going to do, I don't want to say this, Boris, but let's go back to Litecoin quickly. It's a possibility, okay? See this move up here, Boris, the 1 year. That
yeah, I
could,
was just thinking that
could be Bitcoin. But guys, Bitcoin is so manipulated at the moment that anybody that does any technical analysis, everybody is just wrong, for some reason. That's why Litecoin is actually the indicator. So I'm thinking that when Litecoin starts moving up, that could be the move of Bitcoin. Now think about this. Let's quickly have a look here. This is about 100% range, I think, from memory. And it's similar to what we shown weeks and weeks ago. See there's your 100%. But Bitcoin doesn't move up 100%. This move up here should be about 36 to 45% from memory now. I haven't done it, so let's have a look. There's your first 22, and then up to 12,000 is about, there we go, it's about 45%. So I'm selling here as soon as we break out of that channel high point, and it could do about a 25%. But look at this. If Bitcoin does this 45%, Litecoin, in my opinion, makes about 100%. And one of the reasons I don't want to say this, guys, is because I mentioned this 4 weeks ago. I believe this could still happen, but we had this little extended wave that pushed crypto sideways. So I'm reverting back to the fact that I believe that we have still not hit that C point. I'm thinking that it could happen. So I want you to keep it as a possibility. I really want to see that uptrend. I want to see this drop sideways. Then we're out of the woods and we are going to get staggering gains. So yeah, Boris.
Thank you.
Marius, at what level would, if Litecoin falls from here, at what level would the forecast be invalid? Is it $50 or lower?
You mean Bitcoin?
Either Litecoin or Bitcoin, whichever is the leader.
Okay, what we do, we look at Litecoin. Now, the invalidation, okay, if you put on the Bollinger Band, I'm going to make this a little bit darker. So guys, if you want to put on the Bollinger Band, go here to indicators and put on your Bollinger Band. Okay, so this, and it will show you this lower limit here and that upper limit. To change the color, I'm going to make that, you go to upper and then to lower. I'm going to go to lower and I'm just going to make it pink and I'm going to say make it really thick. Can you see now the change there? That has changed. Let's do the same with the top one. I just want to show you now because that's your indicator to watch. I'm going to change that according to my algorithm now. Remember, I'm using some technical data as my own indicator in algorithm analysis, okay? Now, if you look at this, you can now see that we're on the daily now. Remember, we're on the daily. You can now see that we've got an upper limit there and we've got a lower limit here. Let me just change this. Actually, I'm going to change the color here just to yellow. And then I'm just going to remove this so we can just see it a little bit more clear. Okay. Let me just make that a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Now, this is your Bollinger Band. That's your upper outer limit, and that's your lower limit. When Litecoin, specifically now Litecoin, if Litecoin does this and it drops here, your first indicator is that point there. That's your first indicator. If it drops below that point, you have to start to worry. But now your second indicator is if that Bollinger Band is going to do this. Now, if it drops, remember the Bollinger Band will go down. If it drops below the outer limit of that Bollinger Band, you can literally go and sell your Litecoin and your cryptos. Because that is a direct resemblance, guys, of what is going to happen in Bitcoin here.
Marius, what number is that?
Sorry, I just want to show. There you go. And then if it drops below that Python y-axis, we will go down. But clearly, guys, in our algorithm, it shows that it's heading upwards. Okay, you were talking about what number?
What price is that at, the bottom one?
The bottom one here, let me put that in. That's 46. I think it should be 46, I think, around about, yeah, 46. 46, 47. Your first target to watch is that point there. Let's just put it in and you can take a screenshot here, perhaps. So that's your lower point of 50. If we drop below 50, you have to watch out. And then the second watch out is this one, 46. I will not be buying at 46. If we drop into 46 and we break the outer lower limit of this Bollinger Band, let me explain it to this, guys. Look at this. Can you see here? There was one example. Can you see how that red line actually dropped? It dropped below the Bollinger Band and it went lower and then it went lower again. But now it's moved inside the Bollinger Band. And you're going to see that it will stay inside the Bollinger Band. Let's quickly go to Litecoin on the 4-hour chart as well. Now, again, I don't like to buy the 4-hour chart. I don't like to play the 4-hour chart. But this is an indicator as well, guys. Can you see that right at the top there, it got stopped by the Bollinger Band? You're going to see in the next few days, it may do. Let me show you what I see in my algorithm and we see if we are correct. Let me just get that information here. I'm going to show you how that's going to play out potentially, the way that I see it. Okay. Okay, that's your low point here. I'm just going to draw what I see here. Yes, that is correct. It should break now above the Bollinger Band. If it breaks above the Bollinger Band, a good sign. It could potentially come back here, and then it breaks a second time above the Bollinger Band, and then we have a spike downwards, almost about there, and then it moves up again, and the breakout, in my opinion, happens there. Now, I don't like to give analysis like that, guys, because it's a, but this is more or less what you are looking at. And then it breaks all those indicators upwards. So we see
Marius.
If the Bollinger Band goes up that way, I'm looking for twice for Litecoin to break the Bollinger Band on the upper level twice. Then you know the break is coming. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Hey, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. I just want to ask a question. I'm coming at this from a little bit of a different perspective. I see Bitcoin, and I came in this a little later than most people, but I'm seeing Bitcoin as like the Netscape version of the internet, where it was the first innovator, and eventually it's going to reach some point, perhaps this year, perhaps next, where it just tumbles. Looking further ahead, what are some altcoins other than the top 5 that you see as potentially offering some sort of, platform or technology that could be of like imminent value?
Well, the first one that comes to mind is Hedera Hashgraph. That's the only one really of new technology. Are you talking about new technology?
Yeah, data, ADA, things like that, DApps.
Yeah, basically the ones that we are looking at, and I'll mention about 4 coins that we are looking at. The 4 coins that we are looking at is OX, OX.
Okay.
We are looking at RDD, believe it or not, RDD, Link, and Theta.
Okay.
So those are 4 coins that you really can go and have a look at. I'm still investigating to see what's happening with it because I want to find these coins that will go up 1,000% or more. So just to give us a little bit extra, buying opportunities. For me personally, I'm going to stick with the top 5 coins that we identified. Those are Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, XRP, and Digibyte. One of the reasons, guys, is that I don't want to follow 20 coins, and when I want to sell them, I can't sell them. Because I have to focus on other coins as well. It's impossible if you have 30 coins to go and sell them all at once. 5 coins, I can manage it for my own personal portfolio. But if you hold OX, RDD, Link, and Theta, that's good. Also remember this, guys. Many people hold XLM, Stellar. Stellar is a carbon copy of XRP, kind of. If XRP moves, Stellar is going to move as well. So if you hold XLM, many people said, should I sell XLM and buy XRP? No, you don't need to. Just hold XLM. If you what I'm trying to say is you don't need to hold XLM and XRP. Both are going to move the same big percentages. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, Marius.
Hey, Marius.
This is Al.
What's stopping the manipulators keeping the price down?
Yeah, okay. Well, what's stopping manipulators from keeping the price down? There are 2 things, guys. Number one, which I mentioned earlier, is the American elections, the political arena, I should say, the political arena. What happens is that a certain party wins the news cycle, and the news cycle pushes cryptocurrencies up. Remember, guys, months or weeks ago, many people have asked me, what is the reason for the breakout of cryptocurrencies? I just didn't want to come out and talk political events because, I don't like getting nasty emails. You're an F if you support Trump. You're this. Guys, just be nice about it, So that pushes, that cycle is going to push. What happens in America is going to push cryptocurrencies way up. That's one of the reasons. The second reason is that if I look at my algorithm data, and remember I first found the breakout of this 1,000% rise in my algorithm data, there's a certain pattern that I have found. The pattern must play out. It always has. What has happened, the only thing that has happened, it's happened 3 times now, sorry, 4 times actually, where the 40 days and 40 nights, I call it the 40 days, 40 nights event, have been pushed in to bring the market down. Now, think about this now. After every single 40 days and 40 nights, you have a drop and then you have a big uptrend. That says to me that this pattern, and remember guys, I've become financially free by using my pattern. I just closed my eyes and said, I'm following this pattern regardless. And in 2017, 2016, we made huge money. 2018, I followed the pattern again. I made 518% gains. Think about this, guys. Last year in the down cycle, I made 518% gains. This year, how much gains did I make? 400%. I'm not even at the same level as last year. That tells me that what's coming next in an up cycle is there's going to be a breakout. That pattern must play out, and we're coming to a verge. It's kind of like a coil. You play with this coil and you drag it out and you twist it and twist it and twist it. That coil gets released and markets break out and you can't stop it. So I'm betting on the algorithm. So let's get some next questions. Sorry guys, I just want to go off the list. Let's get Cal, Alan, Creasy, and then we'll get back to you, Duncan. There's just some people.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
Marius.
Cal,
Really appreciate you going off the list.
yeah, so Alan, Creasy, and then on. Okay, Cal, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate you going off the list. I'm just wondering about the 1,000% increase. What will be the longest that you'd estimate we'd have to wait until maybe you think it might start? Do you anticipate longest could be 3 months or 2 months or 1 month, if you had to guesstimate?
Okay, great question. Let's quickly have a look at this, guys. Remember when I came out and I said that this is the secret algorithm cycle? We said that this cycle, look there, 18 days. Okay, now we are there now. Okay, let's have a look there at H1. That's about 17 days. Let's calculate this quickly, and I'm going to go and see where we are now. H1, there's H1. We are now there. I believe that this big cycle here could be about 7 days since the break, when the breakout happens. Now, let's say if we calculate 3 days for the breakout, another 7 days, that's 10 days. The maximum that I'm thinking is, Cal, is 28 days. So you look at about 10 days. Now, let's just quickly put it on here. Remember, this is maximum. And don't get disappointed, guys. Think about this just very, very clearly, that they can easily drag this out. Let's just quickly go to Litecoin, actually, on the day chart. Let's see where that takes us. So if I take the day, let's make it 30 days. We are right there now. 30 days is, there we go, November. Okay, now this is starting to line up really well because let's quickly go back to Bitcoin. I'm expecting Bitcoin to hit the target of about 12,000 by the end of this cycle of this month. Okay, remember this, guys. I also want to point you here. Remember this cycle, the 53-day algorithm cycle stopped here. And remember we said months before that, I said we're going to come to a top here, and on that top, the cycle is going to turn into something new. I didn't know what it was at that time, but now we are realizing that it's 30 days, 30, 30, 30. It may be 31 days, 30 or 31 days. But this cycle here, guess what? It stops at 1 November. I believe that we could hit about 13,000 there, and about going into November, about 16,000. So it lines up perhaps with that point there, that we're going to have a breakout further on. We have a bit of a drop here. Remember this, at 13, we have a bit of a drop. We go into 19,666. That's when the $7,000 drop happens. Goes back here to about 13 or 12,000. It goes back up again to 22,000. It tries twice to break 22 and it drops 7 or 8,000 again. And then we have a massive breakout upwards for Bitcoin. So just in short, this is what I see in my data. And remember, guys, this is not objective. I'm not working and saying that the market is going to break out on this date, 10 October 2019 at 12 o'clock. Nobody can do that anymore. If we can't do it, nobody can. We could do it in previous times. We could do it, but it's just not possible at all anymore. And you can see here that I believe that this 30-day cycle, work on this 30-day cycle now. Let me show you what happened here in, sorry, we'll get to some other questions as well. Guys, go back to 2017 and have a look at this cycle. This cycle is downwards and it's a 30-day cycle. The next cycle now is an upward cycle of 30 days. Now, if you have a look at this, and I just quickly want to show people this, if you go right down to that top there, and I'm going to make this, I think I've shown this before, but this is just to help you, okay? Just to give you an idea. If you take 30 days now, and you take that 30 days, no, let's do it different. That's a high point. Let me just get the first one. You'll see between the high and low points, there's a 30-day cycle, more or less, okay? Now, there's your high point, there's your low point, more or less, okay? That is 30 days. Let's just quickly have a look. There's a video I did on this when we were at this top. I made a video and I showed people that we're going to head downwards in 30 days. Of course, we thought we were going to break out here on 5 March. Now, that 5 March is exactly the same what happened on 6 August 2019. And then we went down for 40 days, okay? Now, that was the fourth or the first time that manipulation came into the market. Now, let's have a look at this uptrend. I think it was about there. Now, and then the next one was a low point round about there. Now, look at this cycle, more or less, okay? It didn't follow that exactly, but see, that one is about 34 days, and this one is about 39 days. If you bring it back to about, anyway, so you can go and do this and follow that pattern on, and you're going to see that what happened here is a distinct, more or less, a distinct pattern where we went from the top to the bottom. Okay, where's that bottom? Somewhere around there. And then the next one from that point onwards was a higher high. See there? And then a lower low to that point there. Point is, in that month there was a low. And what happens next? You must have a high into that point there. And if you follow that pattern onwards, more or less, you are going to find that it works into around about a 30-day cycle. So I hope that's a little bit explanatory. More or less 30 days down, 30 days up. Although you have a down and a up, the market is up. Then down, then up, then down. Now let's go back here. I believe what's going to happen here is similar. It's going to do this, guys. Your 30 days, whether it started maybe there or there, we don't know. We'll find out when it finishes the 30 days. But let's say if that's the end of that cycle, we can probably say 30 days up into that point there. Then what happens? Remember now, it has to make a higher high. The way that it makes the higher high, we will have a drop first in each one of them when you go up. And then by the end of that cycle, into November, you're going to have a high point. And then you have a drop and a high point, and it will keep on carrying on like that according to this 30-day cycle. If I say 30 days, 31, 32, 33 days, it doesn't matter. It's around about a 30-day cycle. Okay, let's, I hope that helps. The next one was Alan.
Oh, Morris,
Hi.
sorry, before we
hear me?
continue on, I just wanted to ask you about that 1,000%. Just wondering about the length of time that 1,000% approximately would occur also.
Oh, okay. Remember we said at the end of the cycle. Now let's quickly have a look here. Okay, the 1,000%, remember the 1,000% is only it's a generalization of a bigger move. But to make it easy to understand, I'm just saying that it's a 1,000% move. DigiByte, for example, goes up thousands of percent. XRP goes up a lot more, and so does all the other coins. Now, in the beginning of this video, we said that I'm going to show you where the end of the first cycle is. And I said that the end of the first cycle in our data, remember we've got a whole, I should have mentioned actually in the beginning, guys, that we've got a whole bunch of brand new data that we are working with now. Because we don't sit on our butts and do nothing. You know, we really look at markets, and these are becoming complicated stuff. It's very, very complicated. So the end of this cycle is most likely taking into account that they are going to push that 40-day pattern into the cycle again, once or twice. So you're going to have an extension of 80 days, which will turn into 90 days. Okay, remember, because this extension here was 90 days. You actually had a 40 days plus 10. That can easily happen somewhere here. This is why I say that we're pushing it out from July to maximum October. Now let's put a high point there. The high point that I am seeing in our data is 80,000. And remember, I'm not sucking that out of my thumb. From the beginning of this year, I said that we are going to head into a point there of 80,000. Go back and have a look at the videos. The videos are there. And from there on, we drop, and then we go to 350,000. So I'm only going to show you the first cycle. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to show you cycle 3. We're now in cycle 3. This is cycle 1. That is cycle 2. That is cycle 3. Okay, so let's just stop it there. So the first cycle here is 80,000 Bitcoin. Then obviously we have a drop, it goes up again, it drops again, and it goes again. There's 7 cycles. Now, please understand that we're now on cycle number 3. Okay, there we go.
Do you see
There.
20,000 BTC in 2019?
So there we are, guys, cycle 3. Now, in this cycle, let's look at Litecoin, for example. I believe that in this cycle, that Litecoin is going to hit $3,000. This is what I'm thinking. By the end of the year, let's have a look here. By the 3rd week of January this year, I believe that Bitcoin is going to break its all-time high. So let's have a look and see where that is. The 3rd week in January, there we go, exactly there. Now let's have a look and see what that target is. That target is that one there. So it should be round about there. Could that go a little bit higher? Could that come forward? Yes, it can. So that just means if this comes forward, that line goes a little bit higher, and we hit that target of 19,666, where we break the all-time high. So round about in this time frame is when we break it. But when Bitcoin hits that cycle high point, wherever that cycle high point is, Litecoin is expected to be $3,000. Now let's have a look and see what the percentage of Litecoin is when it hits $3,000. Okay, for that I'm just going to make it a little bit shorter here. So we're going to try and find out now what the percentage is. Remember, we break this 1499. This is just a visualization, guys. It's not to say it is going to happen, but it's nice to have a look at it anyway. Okay, your 3,000% is there. Yep, that's exactly it. That's exactly my target. 5,000% gain. There we go. So in that time frame, when Bitcoin goes to 80,000, where's that now? To 80,000 there, Litecoin reaches 3,000, and Litecoin gives us a 5,000% gain. Now you can do the same analysis for XRP. XRP is a little bit different. It goes up for 21 days since the breakout, then we get out. So yeah, does that answer your question, Kel? Okay, let's go on. Alan.
Oh, yeah, it does. Thanks.
Hi, can you hear me?
Sure.
Okay. I wanted to get back to the Litecoin with the potential move that's coming. I'm planning on taking a percentage of my portfolio and playing that move up and then the drop, to sell it hopefully in that range, and when it comes down to buy, and then, to play that and see if we could maybe farm a little bit in that, because it looks like a sizable range to do something. Now, with your comment about all the doomers and gloomers, which unfortunately I do follow some of them on YouTube, a lot of them will say, okay, the Trump thing, the this, the that, the blah, 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 October, the end, whatever. And they will go on to say that the banks could freeze up, the exchanges could freeze up, and they'll put you on maintenance and you can't access to be able to do that trade. Normally I keep my all my cryptos offline in a Trezor. Okay. So that has me a little bit concerned, because I remember you mentioned that one time you wanted to make a trade and Bittrex wouldn't let you go in because they were doing maintenance, and it's a very frustrating kind of thing, because as you see, that volatility goes up, and then down for the big one. So I'm planning on doing that, but I certainly don't want to. I'm on big exchanges like Bitstamp and Caleb and Brown, and I wanted to know your opinion about that, about taking your cryptos off the exchanges because, you know, a lot of volume, they show a lot of volume is traded, but I mean, I didn't sell and buy all my Litecoin. You know, every 2 days, all the Litecoin is traded. You know, volume is shown on the blockchain, not on, you know, trading derivatives by the high-speed computer. So I just wanted to get your honest opinion about all that kind of stuff, about how long, when you do want to do trades, do you feel comfortable about leaving your cryptos in the exchanges to be able to trade?
Okay, it's a very short answer to that. You know, if you, in order to trade your cryptos, you must leave it on the exchange. You can't do it otherwise. The way that I do it, I've got all my stuff in hardware wallets, Ledger and NOS. If I want to trade, I plug it back in, I move X amount over to the exchange, I trade it. When I'm done trading, I move it back. But for that little period, while you keep it on the exchange, you can't do anything else. It's on the exchange. Now, remember, cryptos are risky. You can't get away from that. I don't know if there's any clear answer on that, but there is just no other option. However,
there is actually. You can do exchange through the wallet.
However, if you don't trade your cryptos, move it off into your wallet. Sorry, Matt, did you want to say something there?
Yeah, you can. The Trezor Atomic Wallet and Exodus have an exchange feature where you can take it right from your wallet, do a market trade, and change it into another currency and have it come right back to your wallet, so you don't need to keep it on the exchange. However, it doesn't allow a limit, which gives you a better price option.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the times, you know, you put a limit order in and you wait to get hit and everything, you know, all that's all well and good. That's how I've done it up till now. It's just just recently, you know, all this Trump impeachment and the banks are going to blow up and the whole, you know, whatever. I'm just saying that
there's other options.
I just don't want to have one of these maintenance, you know, things where you can't access your cryptos and, you know, get hung up. You know, it's a gamble. I know. I realize that. You know, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't realize that. It's just, and I'm going to do it. It's just, you know, how much do you basically kind of reject all this doom and gloom? I mean, is it all hot air, or should we kind of listen a little bit? You know, basically.
What I would say is just stop following a lot of people on the YouTube and Fox and study and just looking at what Marius and maybe one other person do it. Watching a lot of YouTube videos will just make your head spinning all over the place. That's my opinion.
Yeah, guys, look, the other thing, let me just clarify what I do when I have got, for example, dollars. I have to leave my dollars on or stable coins. I sometimes just leave it on the exchange. So when my orders are hit, my buy orders, it just gets hit. So, but don't put your entire amount of cryptos to risk. And thanks for that information, Matt. You know, I never ever connect my wallet directly to the exchange. I just don't trust it. I rather move my cryptos over to the exchange, trade it back and forth, but then always make sure that when I bought, like for example, now I've bought all the cryptos that I want, and I'm going to wait. If I see Litecoin breaking out, I'm moving some Litecoin back, not all of it, 10, 20, 30%. I'll sell it on the top, and then I'm going to come back and buy it on the bottom. Now, the thing is this is what I say, guys. You need to know what you're doing. If you sell on the top here, think about this now. If we hit 120, what if the market decides to hit 120 and it hovers there and bang, it just shoots up? Then you're going to have to buy in higher. So you lose 10, 20% of your margin. But I'm smart enough to have a look at Digibyte. Maybe Digibyte is at a low price. Then I would just go and buy Digibyte or XRP or Ethereum or anything else or Bitcoin. So you need to know what you're doing. I am not advocating that you do buy or sell on the high and go and buy on the low, because many people can't do it. You need to know what you're doing. So yeah, no, thanks for that, Alan. Let's quickly go on. We need to finish here with regard to Brexit data. We have not really looked into our algorithm with regard to Brexit, but I did come out in the beginning of the year, I think, and we said that we see in our data that the UK breaks with Europe. In a sense, it could be Brexit being completed. We don't know if it is Brexit, but what is also going to happen is that the euro currency is going to fail. This is what we've seen in our data. I haven't got more information on that because it's not really something that I follow. Jeff and then Duncan, can you just come and ask a question, Jeff? Either Jeff or Duncan.
Okay, yeah, this is Duncan. Marius, I just wanted to go back to your very important, more deeply felt information from earlier, which I've also been aware of, that cryptocurrencies are a preparation for the world digital currency for the coming of the kind of beast system. And I've been aware of this for a long time, but I'm still working, trying to make money out of it. But what are you going to do when it comes to the chipping? And the consequences of that, obviously, having read Revelations.
Yeah, we don't know what the consequence really is going to be because remember, Duncan, for you and me, I get the impression you're probably older than 40. I'm 50 years old now.
Yeah, I'm 65. Yeah.
Yeah, so in our lifetime, I don't believe that we're going to see this. There's at least about 3 generations that has to go past before these things take into account. Ultimately, what we see, and I don't want to get into the data really of this, but I can tell you what we see. We see that there is going to be a one world government in about 40 to 50 years from now. We do see that there's a socialist government around the world, and we do see that those sort of things start coming into effect, where cryptocurrencies will be used to buy and sell. It's inevitable. You can't avoid it. But in our lifetime, we are not going to be the people with the problem. In our lifetime, our kids and their kids could have a problem in that sense, where you won't be able to buy and sell.
Exactly.
But this whole thing borderlines really on religion, and we've got people here that are from Muslim faith.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, we've got people, and we have to just respect all religions, As a matter of fact, and let me just say this, guys, in this environment, we can say whatever we want, and people shouldn't take it offensive. It's more governments that put religions at war with each other. I love everybody from every religion, the nicest people in the world. So we just need to maintain that. But we can probably do another separate webinar just on Revelation. Your eyes will pop out when I show you this data, and I've had it now for 2 years, and how the algorithm actually works into that, and what world events will happen by the year 2024 and beyond. Big trouble.
I'd love to participate
Big trouble
in that.
starts by 2024 onwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the next question. Yeah, okay, guys, with regard to Digibyte, let me just say Digibyte is a good buy. Look at this. Anywhere in this region is a good buy. We could see a move upwards now. The same time what Litecoin moves, the same time that Bitcoin moves, a move up, but then a drop sideways and then upwards. If you want to know what the cryptos are going to do, all the other altcoins, follow Litecoin. For some reason, when we do the analysis, Litecoin comes up as the leader, totally, by far, not even a small margin. I've never ever seen Litecoin this powerful. But remember that Litecoin is a carbon copy really of Bitcoin. We met Charlie Lee when he was here in Australia, and I made a comment. I said, yes, but you must be extremely smart, to yourself, just to develop an entire blockchain and develop Litecoin. He just laughed and said, no, it's called copy and paste. And I'm sure it wasn't just copy and paste, but Litecoin is really a carbon copy of Bitcoin as per se. So Litecoin is the one that we follow. A little bit less manipulated, still manipulated, but a little bit less. Who is the next? AJ. My friend AJ, you're from New South Wales.
Marius, I have a question regarding Bitcoin and the same time Litecoin. So my first question about Bitcoin is since June, whatever market pattern we were following, it's a bit change, it seems like, right? So when you see that still we are going to hit 80K, which was our primary target that time, and it is going to be happen by this year end or by next year March? And about Litecoin, what you see the lowest point for Litecoin to buy more?
Okay, the lowest point that we see for Litecoin is now, literally at the price that it is now. Is that your question? The lowest point
Yep.
for Litecoin? You
Yeah,
can see here, that right here at the bottom of this Bollinger Band, there was the low point for Litecoin at $50. I don't see Litecoin coming back much further.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember this, guys. Think about this now. I still can't find the information. I think somebody sent it to me. Charlie Lee, a few months ago here in July, made a comment and said that Litecoin is going to go to $50. Litecoin at that point was $120. Now, Charlie Lee sold his Litecoin at the high last year. I thought he was stupid. But this guy knows something. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how he is connected and how does he know the high points when to sell and the low points when to buy. That guy is heavily connected somehow. And there's big stories going on how Charlie Lee got asked or got paid to develop Litecoin by government organizations. He doesn't talk about it. Why would he have left? Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But Charlie Lee, the point is, he said that Litecoin is going to come to $50. The point is it did. It's now on a $50. Take that into account with technical data, with my algorithm data, with what's happening in the political arena. Take it into account with what's happening all around the world. This is the low. I believe this is the low of Litecoin, AJ. Was there another question that you had, AJ?
My another question was about Bitcoin, because since June we were following different kind of pattern for Bitcoin, right? So I mean, we were thinking like we will hit 80K in year end, but now it seems like we are not going to hit 80K by year end. So what is the next timeline to hit 80K? I mean, just my question is like.
Yeah, I think we our target was about 40,000 for the end of the year, and then later into the new year is that we hit into 80. I think it was about June, July. All we've done, we've just moved the target on, and as I explained earlier, you know that we do see it around about the October as the latest because of the fact that we could have the 40 days included, extra 40 days while we go upwards. This target here, I just brought this target down because I do believe, remember this is what I said here from our analysis. Let's just go back here to Bitcoin. There we go. Number 3, Bitcoin price action slows down, but makes new all-time highs and breaks 19,666 going into February. Now, because of the slowdown in Bitcoin, alts are moving faster. So what happens is the money moves out of Bitcoin and it moves into altcoins, and it's starting to happen right now as I speak. So that slows the price action of Bitcoin down dramatically. What you need to do, everybody I think should stop focusing on Bitcoin. We'll still use Bitcoin as an indicator, but the leading indicators here are Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash. So in real terms, the only reason, AJ, that I say that we could hit that 80,000 is basically just a slowdown in price. But remember, altcoins move rapidly, and I'm busy now. As soon I'm starting to move my Bitcoin into altcoins. I'm just waiting for that $10,000 break or that break above this level here. See, when it just breaks above that channel, which is kind of like just above 10, I'm going to start moving all my altcoins in all my Bitcoin into cash and then cash into altcoins. Now, now AJ, you are correct. And remember, guys, this is when we were here on the bottom, we said the market is going to go up, it's going to come down, it's going to break up again, come here, and then shoot up here to 19,666. That was a failed call, as per se. We're not making excuses for that by calling manipulation and all that kind of stuff. But I've always said, you know, we are not 100% correct. Nobody can be. But were we correct with Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash? Yeah, we were perfectly. We nailed the altcoins 100%. Even the amount that it would drop. Litecoin will drop into 50. Ethereum 151. We nailed it 100%. What happened here in Bitcoin, I can tell you now, is pure manipulation. Look at this, guys. If you take this now, take that pattern and move that pattern upwards. That is what should have happened. It's an inversion of the pattern with an extended timeline. You can literally say that we should have been around about in September. We should have hit, that is what it should have looked like. And if you go back to the patterns that we identified, we show the X, the Y, and the Z. Something similar like that. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, guys, but it's not the end of the world. Like one guy, he said to me, I bought 12,000 Bitcoin, and because of you now, it's dropped all the way down to 7,000 or 8,000. Just hold your Bitcoin. Before you know it's going to be up, before you know it's going to be 20. And sometimes you just need to hold. Guys, I bought Bitcoin as well here at these high levels. I even bought Litecoin at $130 and I still hold it. You just need to play the game. You know, it doesn't matter if you bought Litecoin. And I've said it last week as well on all the calls. I said I bought at 130. As the market dropped, I bought. I buy every single dip. On average, it's going to play out.